Hey you guys, it is Tisha Rell from House of Skin Aesthetics. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It is a self-care day for me, and I actually just took a little ride down to Polly's Island to visit my friend at Seaside Aesthetics. This is Jessica Miller's place. We went to school together, and I'm ready to get a facial from her, and we're just gonna catch up on some Esty talk, and I want you guys to watch, so come on. This is Jessica. This is my long friend.
Oh my god.
And Esty Bestie from school. We went through hell together and back. But I came to visit her at her lovely spa.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so this is our little studio. We have 2 injectors, and I am here, and we're here by appointment only. So we've got our good little clientele that come and go as they please, and I focus on combination corrective skincare, and I just love what I do. And I know we got a passion for skin.
Yes.
That's why we always stay in touch.
Yes.
I love cheering you on.
I know, and I was gonna say she has always been an inspiration for me. First of all, let's just say that when we finished staying at school together, we actually worked together in a med spa, and she was the master esthetician when I started, and I was like fresh out of school, so I knew nothing. So I followed Jess on everything. I'm like, Jess, what do I do here? So just following her throughout the years, and she actually has encouraged me recently to join the skin games. And I'm like, okay, Jess, I don't know. But then when I started researching, I'm like, okay, this is a really good way to challenge myself.
Yes.
We're always wanting to challenge ourselves, our thought process, and be up on the new thing in our industry, but stuff that actually works.
Not trending things.
Not trending stuff, but things that actually work for the skin, all skin. She has a diverse clientele as well. But like I said, we both have been through so much in this industry, and I just want you guys to hear our story, but also enjoy watching her give me a facial. Yay!
So I'm excited to give you your treatment.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Come on.
All right, so you can come on in.
Okay.
And you just get undressed down to your comfort level.
Okay.
Remove any jewelry that you want.
Okay.
And then I'll step out, give you a moment, not before I come back in, and then we'll get started.
All right. So we'll be back, you guys, okay?
Hey, you guys. We are here, and I'm so excited. I rarely have time to do any self-care, anything. So I am really being intentional about doing self-care on myself. But I wanted to bring you guys along.
I don't need to wrap your hair up, do I?
Girl, no.
No, okay.
You gotta cut it all off.
Okay, I got you.
So, yes, I'm so excited. And I see you got the hydrofacial machine.
Yes.
I'm excited. How do you feel about it?
Best, well, I would say my Skin Classic and my Hydrofacial, 2 best purchases.
So let's talk about the Skin Classic, because I actually have this device.
Okay.
But I do so many acne facials
Mm-hmm.
that I really haven't had time to dive deep into the Skin Classic.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you thinking?
Well, so I do the Skin Classic on everybody, no matter the skin. Everybody can be Skin Classic. And the reason why is because everybody has some kind of skin abnormality
Yes.
that can be dehydrated out with the thermolysis machine of a Skin Classic.
Okay.
So like even if it's a milia, telangiectasia, broken capillary.
Yes.
I mean, I sometimes do it to little areas that I can't extract very well.
Yes. The telangiectasia, I can't say that right. I did somebody, but she was like, it was kind of painful. But
It is a little uncomfortable.
it is a little uncomfortable.
I don't numb with mine. Ruth does.
That's what I was going to say to you.
So I do mine when I do extractions. So after I do extractions, I do the Skin Classic, and then I continue on with the facial.
Got you. Because I have a little amelia.
Yeah.
You are getting extracted though.
Well, and even like, so how you have this like little nugget here?
Yeah.
That could be zapped with the Skin Classic.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I do have somebody that I'm working on. I did zap a little, it wasn't a mole, but it was like an abnormality on her neck. And she loved it, so we're going to do some more things.
Let's see, we love that.
I'm going to record it. I think it's so cool to see it fall off.
I know. I mean, and people like that, they think it works better than some chemical peels. Like when it comes to a brown spot or something like that. I
need to play around some more with it then.
Yeah, I really like it.
But yeah. So, okay, you guys, I'm getting my facial, and usually you would be quiet here and being relaxed, but
We're gonna be talking.
we're gonna be talking because we got a lot to talk about. Like, we
Yeah.
got some stuff to catch up on.
So I'm gonna try not to keep sticking my.
She's not trying to do anything freaky.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, we went to. So I'm originally from Greenville, South Carolina, and Jess, where are you from originally?
I'm Lugoff, South Carolina.
Lugoff,
Which is in between Columbia and Florence.
Okay, cool. So we met in aesthetic school. I started in June of 2016 at Southeastern Aesthetics Institute in Columbia, South Carolina. And now, Jess, you were a little bit in front of me. I want to say. I don't know if you were the year before.
So I started in 2013, but didn't graduate until 2014. And then I went and got my license to instruct in 2016.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, because I'm trying to remember if was I a student when we met?
I think no, because I didn't start school until 2016.
Okay.
So I must have saw you around. We did some. We were still like intertwined with each other.
Yes, because that was when I just had started. Because I was working at Pura.
Yes.
So you saw me probably all the time at the school and stuff.
Yes.
But I was also going through training to become an instructor.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, you and I became closer when we started working at Pura. So when I finished aesthetic school, I started working at Pura in 2017, like that February or something like that. Because I actually had moved to Charlotte, and that was a whole shit show. And then I ended up coming back, and I got a job at Pura, and that's when you and I became really, really close. I just feel like we both were like figuring it out and fresh out of school, and then I know you were an instructor, but I still feel like we were figuring it out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've learned so much.
Yes.
Since then.
Right.
Even then, yeah, for sure. And I know you have too.
Yes, and it's just like, do you feel like aesthetic school was everything you... Well, first of all, what made you go to aesthetic school?
So I've always been interested in skin, because I've always had my own acne.
Okay,
and
right.
Skin issues.
I do remember that.
And, when I was opening restaurants internationally, I would treat myself once a month.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I would treat myself once a month.
Was it Hooters?
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
To facials and massage.
Okay.
And so I would always talk my esthetician's head off. And when I said, hey, when I wrap up with what I'm doing now, traveling and being fabulous, I guess.
Because you were. I remember that. And you used to do the body building thing.
There was a time I went through that. Oh, yeah. And so I was like, I'll go back to school and I'll figure out how I can do skin. And that was when I called around and someone recommended Southeastern.
Okay.
And that was when Southeastern had just started in Columbia. I was the third class of the launch of the school. I had 2 other people in my class. That was it.
Okay.
Yes. And then the rest is history because I was obsessed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think your driving force? Like, what is is it the same thing for me? It's the instant gratification of making someone feel beautiful.
Yes.
Okay.
For me, it's definitely like I want to see the change in your skin, and I want you to reap the rewards of the change in your skin.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, one thing we were kind of talking about earlier on is that we've been in this industry, let's say about 6-7 years now. I did start with makeup though, and then that kind of led me to go into aesthetic school because I know a lot of women who did not want to necessarily have to wear makeup only for maybe special occasions. They wanted their skin to be pretty. So I was like, okay, well, let me help, in whatever way I can with that. So that's when I decided to quit my job and go to aesthetic school. So fast forward 6 years, 6, 7, 8 years, it's like things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit.
For sure.
It has become a thing to go to aesthetic school.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
it is blowing up.
It's definitely blowing up.
Which, 10 years ago, people were predicting that blow up would happen.
Right.
Over the next 20 years. Is this too hot? Are you okay?
It's good. It's
okay.
It's great. But yeah, so for me, fast forwarding 6-7 years, I've become an acne specialist with brown and black skin. But also diving into more of the wellness aspect, because I think people miss that. And one thing I had always admired about you is you did talk heavily about, nutrition, and you are, was Pure Bar?
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell people a little bit about it, people who don't know?
Yeah. So, when I started aesthetic school, it was around the same time that I started Pure Bar, and I started teaching Pure Bar. So while I was in aesthetic school, I was teaching Pure Bar, and then eventually when I graduated from aesthetic school and I started my first job at a day spa, Oko.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Now, that was in Columbia, too.
That is, yeah.
Okay.
Right down the road from where Pura was.
Okay.
And I would literally be teaching Pure Bar, leave, go to Oko, shower, get ready to take on clients all day, and then I would go back to Pure Bar and then go home.
So she also taught me how to hustle, y'all.
Hustler.
All the way.
The hustle doesn't stop.
It all comes together, though.
It does. It's a full circle.
It's a full circle, and I feel like that may be where the disconnect is now in the industry. Just from what I'm seeing, like I say, I see a lot of acne clients, and about 90% of my clients have internal health issues. Now, let's kind of back up too, because I did start nursing school. I actually was in my clinicals last year. It just got to be too much. It was almost to the point of me having to either choose my business or school. And I was like, oh, well, hell no. I'll figure out another way.
Exactly.
And so, and then being in nursing school, I realized that they really push medication. And that was totally against what I thought I was going to nursing school for. So I'm like, okay, let me find another route, because it has to be something different. So coming full circle with, now I am launching my juices for my juice bar. So this is where this whole YouTube and my podcast is coming in, you guys. So the name of my podcast is going to be Juicy Conversations with C. Sherelle. But I had to come back to the beginning for you guys to kind of follow where I'm taking this journey.
Exactly.
And who better than to come back to the beginning than the person who I basically started my career with. Well, one of the persons I started my career with. We're missing a few people, but nonetheless, we've kept in touch throughout the years, and we have evolved so much in the industry. But I feel like people just don't give that time and don't take the training as serious as we did. I know me and Jess for sure are always like, okay, where are we going to train now? Like, what's the new thing? Not even necessarily a new thing, but what's going to give?
What else can we learn?
What else can we learn?
What can we add?
Yes.
And then even if it's not something, so I know sometimes like I've taken trainings and I'm like, how will this associate with where I'm going? It always ends up coming full circle. Like, I learned something, even though maybe I didn't think I would learn something that would be specific to this. I did actually learn, this or whatever.
Do you ever go back to like our old books in reference?
I have before, yes, for sure. Not as of lately, because I've gotten other books, and other things, obviously, over the years. But for sure, I think about that all the time. Like when somebody asks me something or I see something that I'm not quite sure about, I'm like, I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah, and it's okay.
It's okay, yeah. I mean, because I don't want to tell you something and
it'd be wrong.
Right, exactly.
So, what would your advice be for like these new estheticians coming into the game?
Okay, my biggest advice, and this is something I am learning doing this now. It's like mentor under somebody.
Oh my gosh.
So like right when you come out of school, don't be afraid to take a job that is just going to teach you more on the job training. It'd be great to find a job obviously that'll pay you back for that time, but it's okay if it doesn't either. Just grow and learn. And the other thing I would say is like while you're in school, try to go ahead and place yourself in that position.
Yes.
So like I started working technically at OCO before I was even graduated, just doing basic stuff, and they ended up paying me back for that time once I was officially licensed and everything.
Right.
But that is a big part of it is, and I know Ruth recently hired somebody who had not yet officially graduated. She was just helping her with the books, helping her with social media.
Right.
And now she's going to be pulling her on. But here's the thing. What you learn in school is just to get you to pass the state board.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You then still have to create your own
thing.
Yeah,
Your niche.
Your niche, your specialty, whatever it is. And it's taken me a long time.
Yes, girl.
This is my third time I've had my own space. Okay? This is my third time.
So I'm glad we're being open and transparent.
Yeah.
Because I want to piggyback off of that. I have a lot of girls who reach out to me and ask me questions about, how do I make 6 figures? And I'm like, girl, listen, first, let's not focus on making the money. The money will come.
The money will come.
You need to master what you do well. And for me, becoming an entrepreneur took me on a spiritual journey.
For sure.
To really dive deep into what speaks to me.
Exactly.
And I think people get so caught up in the aesthetics of aesthetics instead of really seeking and knowing this is a career that you need to master. Like you need to find your niche and master what you do well in this industry.
Exactly.
And again, people don't talk about not the failures, but the lessons. Like you just said, this is your third space. Me, this is my second space, and people miss the downs of the business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And another thing I noticed, people trying to do everything. So yes, that's what I would tell, because I have a lot of girls asking me this, and I'm like, listen, do not get caught up in the hype of money. Okay. Because you need to be understanding that people come to spend their money with you because they want a service and they want results.
And they trust you.
Which I don't know about, everybody else, but we've coined ourselves to be results driven.
That's right.
So if we're asking the client to pay this amount of money or get this package, it's like, okay, they want results. You need to master how to deliver results for every situation. Because every person is not going to be the same. In my case, I specialize in acne, so I deal with a lot of health issues, which is another reason why I decided to go to nursing school. But there was a bunch of bullshit. So I was like, okay, I gotta find another route.
But the juice bar.
So I did take a training to become a juice master, where I studied with naturopathic doctors who have their own holistic retreats. They've treated people who have cancer, and that's my ultimate goal. Just restoring people inside out, period, because they forget that skin is an organ and you need to treat it accordingly. And I think that's where my frustration is coming in with this industry. Everything is about fluff and buff and the flowers and the damn jelly mask and all that. That's cute. But my whole thing is, if you're wanting longer lasting results, you have to cater to yourself inside out, and that is period. Like I don't know where we're going wrong with that. So I'm just like, okay, I need somebody who understands, who's another esthetician who's been in the game. We're seasoned. We've seen a lot. We've done a lot, and it's like, okay, let's cut the chase. Let's get down to what is really going on with skin. Period. But yeah, and another thing I wanted to kind of touch on with, like you said, with aesthetic school being the very basic foundation. I would like to say we went to a pretty good advanced
I would for sure
school.
say that, definitely.
And even then, we had to learn some stuff. Like, Jess was my instructor in the advanced portion.
Yeah.
And we did some lasering. Okay. It's very well known that lasering is hard to do on African American skin. And I'm not even a darker skin type.
Right.
So, we followed the book. and that did not go well.
No.
My face burned.
And it took.
It took.
So it was a snap, like you felt the rubber band snap.
And I thought we thought it was normal.
We were like, okay, it's normal.
That's normal.
But then, within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes. So how did you feel in that moment?
Oh, I instantly felt a rush of heat. Like, it just gave me chills thinking about it again.
Girl,
I was like, we are not going to be able to reverse this. Like, I cried about this.
Let's just say that. Hold on, y'all. So this was a training. So I signed paperwork. I knew I was going to be the model. I knew the risk, essentially. But I wanted to feel what my clients would potentially feel. Being a woman of color, I want to experience the things that I'm servicing my clients with. So that was the whole thing. Jess is amazing. Jess is very phenomenal at what she does. But I feel like the training and the machine.
Neither one of us knew. To the extent. Of what was going to happen.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And that ultimately, though, I will say this, that is ultimately my fault as someone that's running, the machine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, we've got to figure this out. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And remember, I reached out to another person that owned the laser, and I was like, what can we do to help reverse this? And something that made me feel better, but also kind of not feel better, was that I wasn't the only one that has made this mistake.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So in the aesthetics business, I will say, people of color are not represented well.
No.
So that's my goal, is to get those high level services, but they are safe for people of color. And I'm not even talking about African American. I'm talking about if you have a little bit of Italian, if you have,
for
you
sure.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think people miss that. We're talking about anybody who has any type of
melanin reactive skin.
Yes. So that kind of started me on my journey of, okay, I want to be the voice to people of color in our industry. However, it's been trying for me to find training and mentors and resources to kind of help me with that, because they don't cater to our skin in this industry, even in 2022. Now, what I will say is DMK, I feel like they do a phenomenal job with having things that work for all people, especially people of color. I will say that I'm pretty impressed with their products so far. Phenomenal training. I just came back from Pensacola. Amazing. So whenever you get a chance, Jess, I highly recommend.
I know, I need to do the level too.
So we're basically trying to tell people, listen, this is an amazing industry to get in.
But there's always something to learn.
There's always something to learn. Oh my gosh.
I mean, here I was, the instructor, teaching. I had been to numerous of these laser trainings, and per the trainings and per the manual, I was like, we should be able to do this. I don't see why we can't.
Now, was I your first?
You were the first woman of color that I had actually touched with the laser. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So there you have it, people. Like, yes, when I say we've been through it, we have been through it, because it took me, we did a lot of figuring it out, because yes, my color did leave. So, okay, immediately after she performed the service, and I can show you guys on my right side what we're talking about, because you really can't see it unless you really look at it. Some people think it's a birthmark. But immediately after, I felt this heat wave, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is normal. This is what it's supposed to do. But Jess started at the top of my cheek, but by the time she got to the bottom, I feel like my whole face had kind of burnt inside out. And hey, she saw it, the students saw it, we all were like,
we all were, yes.
And Jess was like, Courtney, I'm going to take these goggles off, and I want you to know there's something going on. Yes. So when I saw it, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is interesting.
I'm being too nice about it.
And because, it wasn't really going to do any good to be mad. It was more of like, okay, we got to learn.
Right.
Because we cannot do this to clients.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? thank God I haven't experienced. I don't know if you experienced anything like that with a client, but
No.
I definitely am thankful that we did it on me versus a client, because that could have been bad. But throughout this whole process, I definitely learned how to heal the skin, because my color came back.
I
That was the
know.
main thing that we were scared of, that color not coming back.
Yes.
So the color did come
We
back.
were worried about
Hypopigmentation.
which, I mean, you can't do anything once that's set in.
That's people understand, when you are using laser on ethnic skin, you can run the risk of hypopigmentation, and that is nothing you can do about that. But for me, fortunately, it was very it was hypo, but then the color came back. Slowly it came back.
Yeah.
And it did do some PIH, so post-inflammatory hypopigmentation.
Yes.
So I've been working on it throughout the years. Essentially, it's a pigmentation scar that's deep in my skin.
Yes.
So it takes a little work. And you got to be careful, because it kind of is like, you don't want to do too much, because you don't want to flare it back up.
Right. You
Type
have to
of
be
thing.
delicate about it.
Yeah, you do have to be delicate about
So
it.
do you use a face stamp at home?
I don't use a face at home, but I've microneedled. I have a skin pen.
Okay.
So I've done some microneedling, and as you can see, the top part pretty much is
yeah.
gone.
Yeah. These look the most prominent. There's like 4 that look the
Yes.
most prominent. These 2 and these 2.
And that's why I said that's where it burned.
It
the
burned?
worst.
Oh, right.
Remember, so what happens with melanated skin, we absorb heat differently.
Yes.
So what happened, by the time we got to the jawline, it basically had burned inside out. So that's why it was so prominent here at the jawline.
Because that's what happened. It got really dark.
Yes.
And then those dark fell off like a chemical peel.
Yes. But,
And then it was white.
and then it was white.
I mean, whiter than my skin.
People.
Whiter than my skin.
It was bad.
It was bad.
I can laugh about it now, because it's like,
Less.
we were like,
She was wearing a bandage.
I was wearing a bandage, and it was weeping. Like, my skin was weeping from it being so
Because we were just
new.
trying to feed it stem cells.
Yes, and we did stem cell, we did oxygen therapy. I ended up
Yes.
going to
The Oxy place, the
Oxy,
Studio 2 or whatever.
yeah.
Yes.
I went there to get some oxygen therapy just to help heal the wounds. Because at that point, we were just focused on healing the skin. But y'all, this could happen with chemical peels. Like, if you
Oh. The
Did you
same
see
thing
that?
would have happened, yeah, with like a chemical,
Girl.
a TCA of some sort.
did you see that? It was a lawsuit in Atlanta.
Stop.
Like third degree.
Stop.
Third degree. He is suing her for like $1 million.
Oh my god.
It was bad. His whole face, and then he told her that his face was like burning, but she was like, "Oh no, that's normal, whatever." And he got home. He said his face was just burning. So he went to the ER. They told me to use dial soap.
Stop.
If I'm gonna pull it up so you can see like just how bad it was. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
So y'all, it's more than just doing laser. It's more than just doing a chemical peel and all
Which,
that.
luckily now, I will say, there are more lasers now that
Yes.
can treat pigmented skin and things like that. It's not just kind of what it used to be.
What it used to be.
And I think they're still working on it for sure.
I actually met with this group, Aerolace.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it.
That's what Mia has.
Yes, I'm in conversation about getting the Aerolace. How does she like it?
She loves it. I think she's a trainer for them or something now.
Really?
I feel like if that's the right company, I think so.
They specifically cater to people of color.
I love that.
The research behind it were from Black dermatologists in the industry, and it's phenomenal. I met with the guys. They performed the laser on me, and I'm actually going to upload that video.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yes, they performed the laser on me. It's painless, and even just for people who are not of color, it's painless for one. That was the biggest thing for me. It wasn't as painful as a regular laser is. I didn't feel anything. Once you see the video, it was kind of like me laughing the whole time.
Oh wow.
So-
Okay, wait, no, Aerolace. I'm sorry, I'm confusing. Dr. Pennington bought that. She was buying that laser right before I left to move here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In Charlotte?
Uh-huh. Yep, so they have it.
So, okay. I wonder how she likes it.
I think they love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm just up in the air. Not necessarily up in the air. It's just, it is a big investment.
It is a big investment.
Um,
like my Cadillac back here. I call her my Cadillac.
Girl, because I'm between the hydrofacial and the air lace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, well,
I think you just got to think about like where your clientele is at right now,
right,
and what makes most sense.
Yes. And for me, because I have women of color who have like PCOS and all this stuff going on, they're always looking for somebody who can do laser therapy, but they're scared because they don't have anybody that caters to their skin.
Exactly.
So I'm just like,
you're gonna feel a little tingle with that, by the way.
Okay.
This is the glass out 1 to 10 range. Where's it at?
Okay.
Where's it at? It's on right now.
1.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, just wanted to check in.
Nothing. Girl, I done done so much stuff to my skin.
Okay.
But yes, I feel like me going with the aero lace is more of going to be my, and I would be the only one in Greenville who has it.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
So I'm thinking that's where my next investment is going to be. I'm in conversations now with my physician and the team and all that stuff. So I'm just like, okay, we got to make sure it's worth it.
Exactly.
Like it has to be worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and that's another thing, you guys. You have to figure out when you're talking about equipment, make sure it makes sense. I see some people just going out buying stuff, and I'm like, well, do you even service this demographic? Like, is this going to make sense before you make this big investment? And I will say, build your business up first.
Yeah.
Before you make large equipment investments, because if you don't have the clientele, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Because you could be making this purchase and not be able to pay it off with it. Yeah, not even be able to use it. That's crazy as hell to me. But I've seen that happen. I've actually seen it happen with a lot of medical people who jump out there.
Just buy too much stuff, you know what I mean? Or buy this thing and then they can't even sell it because it's too much to perform it.
Yes.
And you have to charge the client X amount, but then the client doesn't want to pay that much to see only a 25% result, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to piggyback off of that, Skin Classic was the first big purchase.
Okay.
Thousands, you know?
Yeah.
And, but for me it made sense because here at the beach, everyone has red spots, broken capillaries, brown spots.
Right.
And I've literally Skin Classic, I would probably say 90% of my clientele.
Really?
I mean, they all come in and I zap them.
Really?
You know, even if it's just one spot, I zap them.
Yeah, and like you say, versus them going to pay so much money to a dermatologist. Not saying, hold on now, don't get it twisted. It's still an investment.
Yes.
But I feel like when they go to these doctors who are not going to really sit down and come up with a regimen, come up with a treatment plan and all that, and pay this type of money.
Well, and I have some, you know, that I'm like, okay, if I see a spot through the derm scope that I'm questioning, I'm like, hey, when's the last time you went to your derm? Okay. And then if they're like, oh, my derm saw it, they didn't care, I'm like, okay, well, do you want me to remove it? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay. Right. But if they say, oh, my derm has not seen this spot yet, and I'm on the fence, then I'm like, let your derm see it. Right. Let them know you have an SD that can remove it. Okay. But that it needs to be approved first. And so that's what I get for certain spots that I'm like, I'm not sure about this because I'm not a doctor. Exactly. And I'm okay with saying that. Like, I've gotten to the point in my career where I'm okay with being like, I'm not sure about that. Right. I'm okay with saying, let me find out. Right. Let me research for you. How about you ask your derm? How about you know what I mean? I need a clearance first. Right. You know?
Because I think we come out of school this whole...
Oh, I definitely thought, I was like, come on, I know everything. I don't need to learn nothing else. Which I still would sign up for trainings. Yeah. But I was like, I feel like I know a lot. Right. But I will say I did always have that mindset of like, I'm willing to learn more. But I will say there were a lot of times in my own way that I was like, we can do this. We can do this. But unfortunately, I think that came from our instructor being so confident. And love that. Yeah. But I kind of found myself in predicaments
that were not good.
Yes.
And we do have people who will be upset about that.
You know.
And it's like, you know, let's be smart here.
Right.
We don't know everything, and we're not doctors. But let me say this. We're not doctors.
But we know a different kind
But we know a different type of approach to skin.
Exactly.
Because I will say, I don't know how many doctors you've worked with, but I know...
Right? A lot.
A lot of them don't know.
Oh, yeah. I have literally trained 7 doctors. I have trained... Y'all. They have paid me money...
Dead ass.
...to train them.
Dead ass.
Because Because legally, your medical director has to be trained in whatever you're trained in for them to oversee you.
Because how are they How are they overseeing something they know nothing about? They don't even know what they're looking at.